5 miles per hour. So we are continuing to see this just kind of sitting over Cordele. Still tornado warned storm. We've got the reds and the greens touching. We've got this headed to the north and to the east. So, a lot of us have been stuck inside all day and just continuing to see this rain, continuing to see this wind. And we are starting to see a little bit maybe better rotation just to the north of Cordele. I'll go ahead and take off where that warning is just so we can maybe kind of get down into this a little bit closer. Still, kind of in general headed towards I-75, headed towards the Vienna area. You just need to be aware that this is generally on the way. So around 35 mile per hour winds, 23 mile per hour winds. Once again, still relatively loose rotation on this. Even if you get closer, it doesn't look particularly a whole lot better, but I would not recommend trying to drive into this whole storm because once again, you look at it on radar, that is a lot of lightning. So if you are headed down I-75, I would say maybe wait it out. Give it a good hour or so before you're headed down into areas of Dooley County. So just once again, kind of taking it out the wider view, just because we are seeing that tornado warning on this storm, but we're also kind of watching closely a few other things. We are seeing some heavy rain trying to push towards areas of Monroe County. So I know that was one of the places we said maybe wouldn't see quite as much rain. You guys have definitely seen the rain out there today. We're also watching a little bit closer into areas of southern Houston County near Perry. You guys seeing a lot of rain out there right now in areas of Bleckley County near Cochran, heavy rain there as well. And then we move down further to the south. And once again, this is kind of where you look for it. You look for where the lightning is. You look for that potential rotation there, especially with a tropical system, but not a whole lot in the way of any kind of real inflow boundary. I will say the rain, probably very heavy in Cordele. We can check it out right now, 2.55 inches per hour. So yeah, it is. This system is dumping rain right now across much of our southern counties, and that's going to continue at least through the rest of the evening. So just kind of in general, this whole system is feeding off of some of the warmer temperatures. So you can see we've got those 70s in Eastman, 71 in McRae, and then we've got some middle 60s in Montezuma. So pretty much down to the south of Perry is where we're going to see the better moisture. We're also going to see the warmer temperatures that are helping to feed off of a few of these storms. And that's how we're getting a little bit of that spin up, but not enough instability really to give us any kind of severe thunderstorm watches or tornado watches like we were seeing in Florida last night. So it was definitely something to be wary of after we saw some of those tornadoes in Florida last night. But of course we couldn't go, one tropical system without seeing some sort of impact. So continuing this tornado warning, it is going until 7:30 this evening. So that's 25 more minutes. We do have the low pressure center from this post-tropical storm nearby. So Nestor is definitely the cause for this right now, but this is a very slow moving system. Once again, you need to be inside because if there is any kind of actual rotation, any kind of actual tornado, you could definitely see some debris flying around. So you want to be inside, you want to be in your safe place, preferably away from windows, not just because of the potential tornado, but also because of that frequent lightning. So getting closer to Cordele, that's still where we're seeing really any kind of rotation. It's still very broad rotation. It's right now looking like the best of that would be north of Cordele. So we're looking at those wind gusts up around 30 miles per hour, and that just changed. And honestly, the rotation's looking even worse out there for right now. So we are just watching this at this point as it gets a little bit closer. We do still have those warnings, though, that have been issued for areas of Dooley County. And I don't think you guys are really seeing much of an impact quite yet, but it's more of just kind of a get ready, be ready for this to move into your area as we are heading into the next probably 15 to 20 minutes or so that we're watching this. It's been a very slow moving system. You do see a few of these areas of the brighter green further to the south. That's going to be just really outside of where the storm is. So you can see kind of the bulk of that is just up and down I-75 headed towards Vienna, headed towards Unadilla. The general tracking for this storm is further to the north and to the east. So just kind of I know that we've got the warning that's going pretty much straight up I-75. I will say storm motion on this is generally going to take it likely up towards Vienna, but maybe towards Unadilla. So Richwood 7 minutes, Unadilla 44 minutes. So we are getting a few confirmations that there is a tornado down in that area through the National Weather Service. But right now, once again, we're not seeing really a ton in the way of tightening rotation across the area. So just continuing to watch where we've got this warning. You need to be in your safe place. So getting reports from the National Weather Service that that tornado would be near Highway 41 and Farmers Market Road. So along Highway 41 sounds about right. That's where we've been seeing some of this rotation. As far as any damage reports, I don't know that we've got much in the way of damage reports, but it's likely to head, I guess, further to the north. So just kind of getting the reports in from the National Weather Service right now. Report of a tornado down in Crisp County. Now, we haven't seen much in the way of any kind of report from areas of Dooley County. But once again, if you see anything, you likely won't see anything, because if there is a tornado in there, it's going to be pretty much, right around here. That's in the middle of the rain. That's going to be completely rain wrapped at this point. You won't be able to see anything. You'll just be able to see kind of the impact. So you want to stay inside, get to that lowest level of your home, get away from the windows. Once again, we've had what seems to be a confirmation from the Sheriff of Crisp County. That's from the National Weather Service chat. So we continue to watch this very closely. If you have any reports of anything, feel free to send those to our Facebook. I'll be watching that as well. If you have any messages, any kind of reports of anything, we'd love to know what you're seeing if you're down there in the area. So it's something that we're watching. Also, you can feel free to go ahead and comment on the Facebook Live that we have up now that's streaming this. So once again, we have a few reports, confirmations potentially from the Crisp County Sheriff that there was potentially a tornado on the ground. That's likely why we are seeing this tornado warning continuing through this evening. So I'll go ahead and kind of jump back if you are just joining us. So look at what we've been seeing pretty much all day. Heavy rain across middle Georgia. Now we are dealing with a tornado warning. We knew that there was going to be that potential for rain-wrapped tornadoes, as there typically is with tropical systems. So we do have that tornado warning that has been issued for areas of Crisp County and also areas of Dooley County. So Cordele has been pretty much under the gun. That's where we were seeing that potential report of a confirmed tornado from the sheriff in Crisp County. Got that from the National Weather Service. So that's, where all of that is coming from at this point. Cordele, Pinehurst, Unadilla, Vienna. You guys all need to be in your safe place. If you're in Cordele, you should have been in your safe place already. But where you're starting to see these light greens behind that system, if you're in one of those areas, you guys should be getting relatively more safe as far as the tornado threat is going, because I'm going to go ahead and kind of, this is reversing it, but as we head into the future, you see it's generally going to the north and to the east. So I think likely we'll probably see this shift, the warning shift at least a little bit. It does look like maybe we're seeing a little bit less lightning with this right now. The rain continues to be heavy, and we're seeing just kind of that little signature in the radar, not a huge signature as far as our velocity is concerned. So it's definitely something that we are watching, especially now that we've got more of kind of a confirmation. So we're going to go ahead and maybe check out more of our velocity products, see if we're getting anything different at this point, and not really seeing a whole lot of a difference on anything. So everything's saying generally a pretty broad rotation, but we are seeing some stronger winds in this as well. Going ahead and kind of taking a look, 53 mile per hour wind gusts, seeing the potential for 48 mile per hour wind gusts. And once again, these are relatively far away from the radar, but could continue to see that potential for those gusts across the area. So Not only are we dealing with the potential for spin-up tornadoes, although that is what this is a warning for, we're looking at the potential for straight-line winds with those gusts of around 40 and 50 miles per hour. So this is still a lot. This is still a lot of lower level where you might be seeing the best rotation for these storms. And this is something that we have been watching really for quite a while. So still getting in reports. If you guys once again have any reports, feel free to send those to our Facebook. You can send them to news@41NBC. Would love to know what you guys are seeing. You can even tweet those out to us as well, because your reports are pretty much how we get everything at this point. So once again, going back, Cordele, you guys almost out of it. Like pretty much the heaviest rain is moving out. The heaviest rain is where we're seeing these dark reds and the lighter reds. That's going to continue to push off to the north and to the east. Precip rates with all of this is still around 2 inches per hour, so that's going to be very difficult to drive through. I'm talking to anybody that's trying to head out on I-75 South right now, because that is where we're seeing the bulk of this. And really, just looking at the radar signature, it looks a lot better than kind of what we're seeing on our velocity product, but the velocity product is typically how we see some of our better rotations. So just kind of using all the tools that we've got at this point right now, I'm going to kind of take this back and just see where we're seeing some of the best rotation. Has been closer to Cordele. That's also where we had that report coming from. So it was going to be, right around 41 near Cordele was where we saw that report potentially for a tornado across the area, and then really just haven't seen much in the way of significant rotation since, but we have seen some very strong winds as far as our velocity is concerned. So just wanted to make sure that we've got all this right now. Everybody continuing to see just a lot of lightning, a lot of heavy rain on this. Once again, I'm going to put it back into the loop this evening. We do continue this warning for the next 15 minutes. So that's where we're watching closely. But you can see this storm looks a lot different than kind of the others. We've had all the lightning. So I'll go ahead and give you kind of lightning tracker on this one right now. It's a lot. It's an electric storm. 241 lightning strikes in just the past 15 minutes. Now that does go over towards near Hawkinsville and Abbeville, so definitely a large expanse, but just really close to Vienna and Cordele. We've had a lot of lightning strikes kind of on its own. So we're going to take the lightning off once again. You do continue to see this has a different kind of structure than what we've been seeing for the rest of the storms, because you head up to the north, it's all really disorganized up near Perry, up near Warner Robins, and even you head further up north to the McDonough area. They're getting that heavy rain, but they're not getting any kind of storm structure like we've had with this one. This one's also going to be more of a taller storm, but you check over towards hail size and you don't have anything because these aren't really those kinds of severe storms. This is associated with that post-tropical system, so they're kind of built a different way. If you see any kind of hail, it's going to be pretty small. Right now, that hail tracker puts it at 0.3 inches. So if you see anything, which likely you won't, going to say it's going to be very small, maybe pea-sized hail maximum at this point. But we're going to go back to our velocity. Once again, this is a tornado warned storm, so continuing to watch that pretty closely. I will say maybe an area to watch right now, it's going to be right around here where we've got some reds and greens touching. It's a little bit of a tighter rotation. It's also a little bit more rogue, so you kind of take it out and you do see that's kind of right here. Maybe you're getting another inflow boundary with that one, but really just nothing super impressive at this point. So it's just kind of where we're watching the potential, but that's where this would be, up closer into the middle of this storm where we could be seeing that inflow boundary at this point. But just, not super impressive, any kind of tight rotation on this right now. But considering that we did have a report, I believe that's why we're keeping this going. And once again, if you have any reports, feel free to send those in. But I don't think we're seeing a whole lot in the way of reports. I do know that it is just kind of outside of our viewing area right now as this moves in. But if you're near Pitts, if you're near Finlayson, you guys definitely need to be going ahead and maybe getting in your safe place right now. I know you're not in the warning, but you are warning adjacent. So let's put back on that warning just so everybody can kind of see where that is. I'll throw that back on here. It still does include Vienna, where I do imagine that you are seeing some very gusty winds. Once again, a lot of lightning, a lot of rain. Need to be inside, indoors, away from windows. Don't go watch it on the front porch because you won't see anything. Once again, if there is a tornado out there, it's going to be rain wrapped. You're not going to see a whole lot of anything. I will also say, though, once again, that the good thing is that we are seeing this, looks like kind of moving pretty quickly out of the area. So I will say the bulk of where we're seeing some of the best rotation is even getting out of kind of the polygon a little bit. So once again, this whole storm moving north and east relatively slowly. We were seeing that one report 5 miles per hour. This is once again our in-house system. So that says this is more of a mesocyclone. So that means kind of rotation that's a little bit higher up. Tornado impact is a little bit lower, but it does include impacts to areas of Finlayson, impacts to areas of Pineview, and it is moving to the northeast around 35 miles per hour. So just kind of continuing to track. I wish it was a little bit more cut and dry where we were seeing some of that rotation, but that's really just not the nature of these types of tropical systems. So, I mean, we've been through this. We went through it last year with Michael as that came through. Went through it with Irma. This is really one of the ways that we see our impacts from these tropical systems. But I will go ahead and show you, aside from the tornado, we have seen a lot of rainfall right now. They are seeing some of the best rainfall down near Vienna and Cordele. So 3.8 inches potentially, 3.5 inches. So not only could you guys be dealing with a potential tornado situation, we could be seeing a little bit of flash flooding just from this storm kind of sitting over you guys for really the past 30 or 40 minutes. So we are in about the last 10 minutes of this warning. Once again, I'll put that back on. That is for areas of Unadilla, Vienna, parts of Crisp and Dooley counties as the storm has really just sat. So we were seeing in our National Weather Service chat that there had been a confirmation from the sheriff in Crisp County, potentially of a tornado near Highway 41. We'll throw the radar back on and then go to that one. So near Highway 41, near Cordele, and that was where we were seeing some rotation at one point. Now, as we head a little bit further off to the east, that's where it looks like the storm is pushing a little bit more closely. So we do see that heavy rain. We do see a lot of the lightning. We don't see a lot of tight rotation, though. So that's kind of, giving me pause to give everybody the at ease, though, just because we do have a confirmed, they say, tornado that was seen a little bit earlier. But you don't see any of that as you head further out. So that is really where I'm going to say the good news is for this evening is that we're not seeing a ton of rotation, not seeing a lot going on other than what we were seeing really just the past couple of days. So we got a few areas where we could be seeing just a little bit of rotation, but you throw back on the radar and nothing super impressive. I will say as you get closer to maybe 280 over here, we are looking at maybe a little bit of an inflow boundary once again right here, but we're not seeing much in the way of that velocity to kind of go along with it. So typically you'd see, lots of reds and greens touching right there to let you know that there is that rotation that's kind of tightening up. But once again, just kind of take it back a little bit, where we have seen some of the better rotation, where we were seeing that warning was going to be right around here. That looks a little bit better. This warning was initially issued at 6:43. So we'll take it back to 6:43. And you do kind of see that it is a little bit brighter there, closer to Cordele. And then you do also then start to see that it really loosens up. So just kind of in this general area, we were seeing that rotation, and then it doesn't really do a whole lot after that. But once again, it doesn't take a whole lot to get, one of these isolated spin-up tropical tornadoes with a tropical system. Not only that, we are continuing to see those very gusty winds across parts of middle Georgia. So as far as our wind speeds are concerned, we're looking down here, 60-mile-per-hour wind speeds potentially. I would say probably closer to 40 or 45, just because you've got the radar that's all the way up here. So that radar is going to be, 50 miles away or so. So that's kind of why we're seeing such a difference in maybe what's translating down into the ground. So once again, still watching that tornado warned storm. That is in areas of Dooley County and also down in Crisp County. So we continue to watch this as it makes its way in. Lightning, a lot of lightning with this storm as it pushes in as well. Going to go ahead and put kind of our warning markers on this. So that goes until 7:30. We've got about 7 minutes. Not seeing a whole lot of response from the National Weather Service on any kind of updates for this. But we are definitely continuing to watch this storm pretty closely because it has impacted some areas already with that statement from the Crisp County Sheriff that they did see a tornado, or at least saw some impacts potentially from a tornado. And once again, if you are looking for one this evening, you're not going to see it. Anything is going to be rain wrapped, and we're starting to lose light at 7:23 already. So everything is getting dark out there right now. It does look like we now have kind of an issuance of a significant weather advisory for Crisp County, Wilcox County, and Pulaski County. So that's kind of some good news as this system moves on. It does look like this is going to be downgraded as far as this tornado warning is concerned. But it's definitely something to continue to keep an eye on as we move through the rest of the evening. So we're not necessarily done with our severe threat. That being said, I will say that our severe threat is probably lessening through much of the evening. And it's definitely something that we are going to have to continue to watch through the next couple of hours or so. So, right now, I'm going to say you guys are probably okay to find your way out of your safe spot. Just looking at the velocity again, once again, this is where we see the rotation. We're just kind of seeing off and on, pop-ups of little bits of rotation, and that's kind of just the general theme with any of these tropical systems. So you see that area right there that is circled. That's where we could be seeing a little bit of rotation right now. That's where we were seeing also that little bit of inflow with the storm. If we put back on the radar, you can see kind of what we mean right there. I'll show it to you with, let's see, try and get both of these on here. So let's get this radar going. Well, I'll show it to you anyways, just on the regular velocity. We do have just some kind of very breezy areas near Pitts right now. 60-mile-per-hour potentially wind gust. Where we've got the reds, though, it's not super impressive. So once again, that's kind of some of the stuff that we're seeing out there right now. But it does look like this is going to be downgraded to just a significant weather advisory within the next 5 minutes or so. So that's some pretty good news for us. We're going to stay on, though, as long as we do have that warning continuing for the area, because it is still for some of our populated areas as this moves further to the north and to the east. So just kind of generally going to take it back out, show you guys what we're watching for the rest of the evening. It's really, we're almost done with this. We're pretty much at where the warm front is, and that's kind of why we're seeing this particular area. So let's go ahead and take this off. Where the warm front is, that's where we're going to see really that best chance for some potential tornadoes. So throw this warm front on here. Pretty much it's going to be right around this area. Maybe taking it to Dublin's a little bit north, but I just want everybody to stay aware. So if you are along this area, that's where we're going to see that best potential for spin-up tornadoes as we head through the rest of the evening. I'm going to say probably really just the next couple of hours or so. We haven't seen, like I said, a ton of anything today, so getting just this warning out here was definitely kind of a surprise, just noting that we weren't having a ton of rotation on the radar, but they were seeing it, down closer to the ground, and that's where we like to get our reports from in particular anyways. It's just a little bit easier. So Really just watching this, we just got mesoscale discussion from the Storm Prediction Center. That just means they took time to kind of talk about our area. Mostly the concern for the rest of the evening is going to be isolated damaging wind gusts. A brief tornado still can't be ruled out through the rest of the evening, once again along where we were seeing that that warm front just kind of sitting to our north. So all of this does include areas like Finlayson, Pitts, Hawkinsville. You guys need to definitely stay aware. We've got that little bit of rotation that's showing from our in-house model radar system. So still a relatively low tornado impact. That being said, it's moving relatively quickly now, around 42 miles per hour. So if we can get this out of here pretty quickly, that would be good news for pretty much all of us. Finlayson and Pineview, you guys in the direct path of this system. Let's see, just moved a little bit to now Finlayson, Hartford, Hawkinsville, and Pineview. So still relatively low tornado impact. Rain is going to be a main concern, and gusty winds are going to be a main concern as we head through the rest of this evening. Got about 2 more minutes left on this warning, so go ahead and let's see, take this back. We now have the, let's see, it looks like a severe thunderstorm warning for Crisp, Dodge, Dooley, Pulaski, and Wilcox County. I will go ahead and say that the wording on this from the National Weather Service is that a spin-up tornado will be possible. And so that pretty much is going to be for this broad rotation. Anything that we see is going to be a very isolated kind of spin-up system. It's going to be a lot like what we saw before, where you can't really necessarily track it a whole lot on the radar. But this is going to be generally the continuation of that tornado warning. It's been pretty much downgraded to a severe thunderstorm warning. So I'll go ahead and let you guys see that before I let you go, let you get back to your programming. I know it's a rainy day and everybody kind of just wants to see their shows, and I totally get it. But as far as what we're watching, once again, heading into this evening, we're watching that area of storms. The new severe thunderstorm warning now includes Crisp, Dooley, Pulaski, and Wilcox counties. And so now Vienna, Unadilla, you guys are done with your tornado warning. That is the great news.